Honestly, some better than expected animation quality to the start of that battle, concentrating more on the actual quality of the members of the fight, but certainly not exactly skimping on movement either. I forgot his shield could do this, still as cool as I remember it being. Getting to see all of the main heroes of the story back together again in one place is pretty cool. Nice to see main Boy-chan being treated with more respect in line with the end of the last season too. As an aside, boys and gals, want to thank you so much for your continued support. Lately, views have been rising, watch time is up, thanks to people like you watching the whole video. Revenue is slowly rising, more people have joined my Patreon, which is a huge help, and I've been getting the occasional tip via the thanks button under the video. I cannot thank you enough. I hope we can keep on going, and yeah, you're amazing. Love you all. The other heroes continuing to prove their worthlessness against the likes of Naofumi and his party help portray him in a continuous good light and pushes them forwards to be the heroes. This scene does a nice job of entirely avoiding exposition, which I'm a big fan of, instead revealing, naturally, some bits and pieces of her story and history and why she's in his team now. Not gonna lie, as someone who gets ticked off by the whole overly shy, timid routine in games and anime, hearing someone call it out like this was refreshing as spring water from the fountain of youth. No walking on the spot! Not something Addy, but I'd be a dirty, ickle fibber if I said the vibrant colours and whimsical music didn't make the food and the scene look proper nice and RPG-ish. Between this and the frequent overhead map of their movement through the world, it's actually kinda cool seeing how the group makes money to live comfortably as they go rather than just having cash. Outside of the CGI mobs, which personally I don't think looked good in many instances, his using of the Wrath Shield ability was very much the opposite, also sold by his excellent voice acting on display too. Not gonna lie, didn't hate the OP one bit, pretty decent song by all accounts, and a fair bit of animation. Definitely strayed away from using CGI in it, yeah, not bad at all that one. Whilst for my tastes, it's a touch too similar to our world's old Far East, I can still appreciate the manga and anime showing another country and another entirely different style to what we've seen so far. Dropping quite the interesting piece of lore out of nowhere about people who are able to wield legendary weapons that came from our world, is that right? Nice looking scenery shot. She proves her worth during moments like these, picking him up when he's done, metaphorically speaking of course. Certainly not a bad ED, pretty much by the numbers, decent song, calming visuals to try and send me to sleepy bye-byes till the next episode, and it's alright. As far as the music choice goes, they created a very good tune to relay the gravity of not only their mission, but the size and scale of what they're fighting. Because of the mentioned great music, when they leave, by adding in this facial reaction from her, it very much comes across as though he's walking to his demise. That's well done. Even with the heavy use of CGI, they were rather clever using shots like this to avoid seeing too much CGI and instead only hand-drawn. Must have been tough for the animators to work around it. Now that's not a bad looking attack by any means right there. Basically, whenever Naofumi does an attack or defense move, when you add up the animation and his voice acting, it just does equal a win. Like, that was pretty badass. Feels like a real missed opportunity to grab 2 easy max wins, but whilst it definitely does deserve 1, it's not quite enough for 2 in all honesty. When I recall the Pope battle from season 1, I was blown away. It was so cool, but for a weapon that required so much build up, it was kind of meh. But still, 1 win, don't get it twisted. Even if, like me, you thought the battle could have been infinitely better done, you can't knock whoever came up with the epic music to really sell the victory scene. I appreciate the work that went into building a realistic approach to the end of the battle, for the men anyway, as we see carrying of the wounded, supplies being moved, food being cooked and more. She gets a Code Geass ding because she looks like a Code Geass lady. I swear it's like the animation budget was poured into the music budget. Some banger songs that really fit the vibe and feel in this one thus far. The manga actually contains some pretty tasty lore at certain points. Like, I can get behind the idea of humans living on the back of this thing when it was dormant for so long. He's like a big old city. Feels like it'd be a shame to bypass her growth and not give a win when she's finally able to speak up for herself and say what she actually wants for a change. Now that's a damn good twist to the end of the episode. Seeing these kinda heroes again for the first time in a while, including Glass, I believe voiced by Gon's voice actress from Hunter x Hunter. May sound weird, but literally take one here for a non-CGI version of this monster from earlier. They picked a great voice actress for her. She often makes me laugh when she talks, and she fits the character so well. Alice Asmodeus from Iruma-kun. A small thing that can annoy me in certain anime is where a villain stands around explaining their plans in deep detail, so when I see this guy being very coy and stuff, I do like it. Man, oh man, they really did just put a great deal of effort into his attack and defense moves, didn't they? And they get their first Max 2 wins of the second season. Loved seeing her sprinting through the dust cloud, and then the motion of animation as she sliced through the hut was fantastic looking. Like, clearly you could easily tell that a lot of time and effort went into that. Plus great voice acting from Ost in the background. I'll give them one here for a good twist ending to the episode that Ost is actually basically the spirit tortoise. I didn't see that coming. They really sold me on her simply being linked to it. Not sure how they ended up there, but all the same, very good twist. Just hope they explain how and why they're there, since in the first episode they all walked out, turning down the request to fight. CGI turtle! Also though, going without that OP to give us a longer episode with a big battle. I think it's fair to say this is what we wanted, and here they've given it to us. I especially love using, again, the smokescreen attack where they run through it. Very much looks fantastic. This is a fight I wouldn't have thought would be very good, but they actually do it very well, using these effects to sell the scene of big attacks. Here again, another great example of using excellent animation effects to sell the battle. Genuinely looks very good. Take a win for having these two enemies actually team up to take on another even greater enemy in their home worlds. I also liked how L'Arc seemed troubled by the notion now of taking out Naofumi. As obnoxious as he is, I do find it refreshing that he talks and acts like this. Kind of plain in a way. She's saying stop, he finds that funny. Obviously, no, I'm not gonna stop. Giving her the unique perspective to actually understand him in order to throw him off during this battle was a nice touch, by linking it into her own character, I mean. That was actually pretty sick, not gonna lie. It's such a genuine shame that the main boss wasn't handled in this same style. It's so much better than the CGI episodes. It's left me actually confused why they did it that way, to be honest. Odd thing to give a win for, but this is what I was talking about. Just looks so much better. Wish they'd done it all this way. Also, take one here for the multi-people casting shizzle. I loved it in the second half of the first season, I think, and whilst episode 3 didn't impress me much, this was much better here. I do be loving me that alternate shield though. Yeah, I can't just see that shield turning into a turret with cool ass looking wings and not give it a win. That'd be silly. They can have their second 2 max wins of the video there. Excellent effects, but then the voice acting absolutely sold me on that. Sounded bloody fantastic. Easy 2 max wins, well played. Credit for animating them through the scene. Didn't have to do that. I really enjoyed how they handled this. Very melancholy. They teamed up. That was cool. Heading off to their world. That's also very cool. Ost passed on and it was handled real nice. Just a good end to the episode as a whole. And for that, they can have 2 max wins again. Final win here for going without an ED this episode too. Just really packed with content in the end. Thanks so much for watching, ladies and gents. Hopefully you watched this video in the spirit in which it's intended, merely pointing out all the good things. No negatives really, and I do hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to not miss out on that much needed positivity nowadays, and if you want to have a say in what gets voted in, then pledge over on my Patreon, linked below, and cast your vote and more. A like and a comment on here would be beautiful too, just like you are. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Creator follower, Lefty, Nick Wyndham, Nightly Winter, Christopher Willis, Hinakami and Water, Marquez, Orekeeper, The Epic Commander, Bird Without a Word, Brandon Krier, Burn 100B, Emmanuel Gonzalez, Aaron Winters, Yor Edvinson, Kepan, Kevin Alston, Cumfreak, Kylie Welp, Magnus, Matthew Blanchett, Nathan Burr, Satake Yari, Sean, Sebastian Ramirez, Wicked Faye, Ali 50, Brainless Ben, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Hoved Lowe's Ritter, Isel Caldera, Jaffa 6263, Kelnock, Kevin Nelter, Laxus, Lionel Schultz, Marvin, Nick Monaco, 9028, Oliver Smiley Reacts, Peter Milligan, Sentimento, Stan, Storm 970, The Elementator Wars, Tricky Nicky.